The night was calm inside the Silverline gym. Most people had already gone home, and only a few dim lights were still on. The sound of a mop sliding across the floor echoed in the empty hall. It was Maya, the quiet single mom who worked as the night janitor. She moved slowly but with a strange kind of smoothness, like her body understood balance better than most people. Still, nobody ever noticed. To everyone, she was simply the woman who cleaned the gym after hours. Maya always stayed in the background. She wore oversized clothes, kept her hair tied tight, and avoided long conversations. Her life was simple: work, take care of her son, and survive the day. She never asked for help, never caused problems, and never tried to impress anyone. But inside her heart, she carried a story no one at the gym could ever imagine. Tonight was supposed to be just another shift for her: sweep the mats, wipe the mirrors, empty the bins, and go home quietly. But fate had decided something different. Something unexpected. Something that would soon feel like a small war, even if it looked friendly from the outside. As Maya swept the floor near the training area, she heard loud footsteps entering the gym. It was Ethan, the black belt fighter everyone talked about. He was known for his confidence, his speed, and sometimes, his ego. People admired his skills but also laughed at his habit of challenging anyone just for fun. For him, sparring was not just training, it was entertainment. Ethan didn't usually stay late, but that night he was annoyed. He had lost a small match earlier, and his pride was wounded. He wanted to release the frustration, even if it meant pushing himself harder. He walked inside, stretching his arms and cracking his neck. His eyes landed on Maya, who was sweeping quietly near the mat. "Still here?" Ethan asked, voice loud enough to echo. Maya looked up politely. "Yes, just finishing the cleaning." Ethan smirked. "You come here every night, right?" Maya nodded. He stepped onto the mat and said, half joking and half serious, "Ever tried fighting? Want to spar, just for fun?" Maya froze. She wasn't expecting the question. She wasn't expecting attention at all. For a moment, she just stared at him, unsure if he was serious or mocking her. Ethan laughed lightly. "Come on, don't be scared. Just a friendly spar." Maya lowered her eyes. "I'm not scared. But I don't think that's a good idea." He raised an eyebrow. "Why not? I'll go easy." She almost smiled at the confidence in his voice. Almost. Before she could answer, two other gym members walked in. They overheard the conversation and instantly burst into small laughs. "Bro, are you really asking the janitor to spar? You'll break her in 1 second. She won't even last one punch." Their voices hit Maya like small stones. She didn't like disrespect, but she never reacted. She had learned how to stay quiet. Silence was safer. But tonight, something felt different. Something inside her shook a little. Not anger. Not pride. Just a feeling she couldn't ignore. She lifted her head and spoke softly, "Okay. Just for a few minutes." Ethan blinked in surprise. The other two guys looked at each other with confused eyes. "Wait, she actually said yes. Bro, this is going to be funny." Maya walked slowly toward the mat. She placed her mop aside, wiped her hands on her old shirt, and stepped up with calmness, a kind of calmness that didn't match her job or her clothes. The moment she stood on the mat, Ethan noticed something unusual. Her posture, her feet, her balance, it wasn't the posture of a nervous person. It was controlled. Stable. Almost like she belonged there. But he brushed off the thought and put on a light smile. "Okay, Maya. Just follow my moves. No pressure." Maya nodded once. Ethan took his stance strong, confident, ready to show her a harmless, friendly spar. But Maya didn't take any stance. She just stood straight, relaxed, as if waiting for him to make the first move. It was strange. Very strange. Ethan thought she didn't know how to stand properly, so he made the smallest, slowest attack, a basic tap move, to test her reaction. Maya moved. Not fast. Not explosive. Just precise. She stepped sideways with perfect timing, letting his hand cut through empty air. Ethan paused. The two men watching went silent. Maya looked almost bored. Ethan tried again, this time a little faster. She dodged again, smooth as water, without effort. A quiet tension filled the room. Something was happening. Something nobody expected. Something that felt like a silent war between two very different worlds, one confident and loud, the other calm and hidden. Ethan lowered his hand slightly, now truly curious. Who was this woman? Why did she move like that? And what was she hiding beneath that simple uniform? The unexpected war had just begun. And Ethan was no longer sure he would win. The room was quiet now, except for the soft echo of shoes on the gym floor. Ethan's eyes never left Maya. He had sparred with hundreds of people before, but there was something about her that felt unusual. The calmness, the focus, the way she stood on the mat, it wasn't ordinary. Ethan stretched his arm slowly and said with a half smile, "Okay, Maya, just so you know, I won't hold back. This is just a friendly spar, but I want to see what you've got." Maya nodded once. Her eyes were calm, but her mind was alert. She didn't move yet. She didn't speak. She just watched Ethan, waiting for him to make the first move. The other gym members circled around, whispering. "Bro, you're going to destroy her," said one. "Yeah, she's just a janitor," said another. "Don't waste your energy." Ethan ignored them. But inside, a strange thought lingered. Something is different about her. I can feel it. He started slowly, making a simple forward jab. It was a small, harmless move, something any beginner could dodge. But Maya didn't react like a beginner. She moved smoothly, shifting her weight perfectly, letting the jab pass harmlessly by her shoulder. Everyone gasped quietly. "Whoa, did you see that?" whispered one of the guys. Ethan stepped back, slightly surprised. "Not bad, not bad," he said. But there was tension now in his voice. He had never faced anyone who reacted like this without even trying. He attacked again, faster this time, a quick kick aimed at her side. Maya didn't flinch. She sidestepped, her movements so precise that it looked like she had been expecting it. The gym went completely silent. Even the light seemed to dim for a moment, as if the room itself was holding its breath. Ethan's heart started to beat faster. Something about Maya was different. She wasn't just dodging, she was controlling the space around her. Every movement, every step, was deliberate, confident, and efficient. He tried a series of quick jabs and kicks, faster than before. But Maya flowed around them like water. She didn't attack, she didn't fight back, she simply moved. Every move of hers was perfectly timed, perfectly balanced. The other gym members stared in disbelief. "Man, is she really a janitor?" one whispered. "She moves like a pro, like a champion," said another. Ethan stopped for a moment, breathing heavily. For the first time, he felt unsure. He had faced strong opponents before, but none had moved like this, calm, precise, untouchable. Maya tilted her head slightly. She wasn't arrogant. She wasn't angry. She was just there. Present. Focused. Ethan spoke again, trying to hide the tension in his voice. "All right. I admit, you've got skills. But let's see how you handle this." He lunged forward, a combination of punches and kicks meant to overwhelm her. Maya moved almost lazily, yet perfectly. She blocked, sidestepped, and shifted her weight with exact timing. Every strike Ethan threw hit only air. Every attack missed its mark. The crowd of gym-goers had stopped whispering. They were frozen, unable to look away. One of them muttered, I don't believe this." Ethan stepped back, breathing heavily, his confidence shaken. "Who are you?" he asked, genuinely curious now. You move like a professional fighter. Who taught you?" Maya looked down for a moment, her face calm but thoughtful. She didn't answer immediately. The room waited, holding its breath. Finally, she spoke, her voice soft but steady. "I didn't want to fight anyone tonight. I'm just finishing my work." Ethan frowned. "But this isn't just work. You have skills. Incredible skills. Where did they come from?" Maya glanced at her mop leaning against the wall. A shadow of a smile crossed her lips. "Some things I learned a long time ago, before life made me a janitor." The crowd murmured in confusion. Ethan's eyes widened. Something inside him told him she wasn't just joking. She wasn't bluffing. She was serious. He had faced strong fighters before, but the calm in her eyes suggested a story he couldn't even imagine. He tried once more, a careful, controlled strike. But Maya didn't just dodge. She anticipated it, moving as if she could see the move before it happened. Ethan stopped mid-step. His pride was bruised, but his curiosity burned brighter. Maya's calm presence filled the room. It wasn't just skill, it was experience, discipline, and patience. She had hidden it all beneath the uniform of a janitor, beneath the quiet life of a single mother. For Ethan, the spar had become more than a challenge. It had become a puzzle. And for the first time, he realized, he was not sparring with just a janitor. He was sparring with a secret, a hidden force that demanded respect. The room was silent now, not because of fear, but because everyone watching had realized they were witnessing something rare. Something extraordinary. And Maya? She stood there, calm and unshaken, as if she had been waiting for this moment all along. The unexpected challenge had begun. And everyone in that gym would soon discover that appearances can be deceiving. That behind quiet eyes, ordinary people can hide extraordinary strength. The Black Belts Challenge wasn't just a sparring match anymore. It was the beginning of a story nobody would forget. The gym was completely silent now. Even the faint hum of the lights seemed to fade into the background. All eyes were on Maya and Ethan. The air felt heavy, as if the room itself was holding its breath. Ethan wiped the sweat from his forehead. He had been confident when he asked Maya to spar, but now, something about her unnerved him. She wasn't just dodging his attacks, she was controlling them, predicting them, moving almost effortlessly. He shook his head. "Okay, this is different. I've never seen anyone move like this before." Maya said nothing. She didn't need to. Her calm expression spoke louder than words. Her eyes were focused, steady, and unafraid. Ethan decided to test her further. He circled slowly, watching for any sign of weakness. Then, with a sudden burst of energy, he lunged forward. His first strike was a fast punch aimed directly at her chest. For anyone else, it would have been impossible to dodge so quickly. But Maya moved as if time had slowed down. She stepped to the side with flawless timing, her movement smooth and precise, letting Ethan's fist pass inches from her body. The crowd gasped. "Did she just dodge that?" one whispered. "She's like unreal," another muttered. Ethan's pride flared. He was a trained fighter, a black belt, confident in his skill. Yet now, he felt the smallest seed of doubt. How could she move like that? How could a janitor, a quiet single mom, react with such perfect timing? He tried again. Faster this time. A combination of punches and kicks, all aimed to overwhelm her. But Maya didn't panic. She didn't rush. She moved with a grace that seemed almost impossible. She sidestepped, blocked, and shifted her weight like she had been born to do this. The gym was frozen in awe. Every spectator had stopped breathing, unable to look away. Some of the men's jaws dropped, their previous laughter gone, replaced by disbelief. Ethan couldn't hide his shock. Who are you?" he asked, genuinely curious and slightly nervous now. Maya didn't answer immediately. She only shifted her stance, ready but relaxed, letting him see that she wasn't intimidated. Then she spoke softly. "I told you. I'm just finishing my work." Ethan shook his head in disbelief. This is not just work. You move like a professional fighter. You're extraordinary." Maya's lips curved slightly in a shadow of a smile, but her eyes remained calm. "I used to be," she said quietly, almost to herself. The crowd leaned closer, trying to hear. A few people whispered to each other, "Did she just say, she used to fight?" Ethan's curiosity turned into respect. His attacks became more careful now, each one measured, testing her limits. But no matter what he did, Maya responded with perfect precision. She didn't strike aggressively, she didn't try to show off. She only defended herself with calm control, using her knowledge and experience to move gracefully. At one point, Ethan threw a high kick, expecting to catch her off guard. Instead, Maya caught his leg mid-air, not with brute strength, but with perfect timing and balance. She gently pushed it aside, keeping him off balance for a fraction of a second. The crowd gasped louder than before. Nobody had expected this. Ethan stepped back, wide-eyed. For the first time in his life, he felt truly challenged by someone he never thought could fight. "What? How?" Ethan muttered. Maya remained calm, almost serene. She didn't taunt him. She didn't smile mockingly. She simply moved with a quiet strength that spoke louder than any words. It was at that moment that Ethan realized something important. This wasn't just skill. This wasn't just training. This was experience, discipline, and a hidden past that nobody in the room could imagine. He had faced strong opponents before, but none had this presence, this calm control. None had moved like they could see the future of the fight before it happened. The two men who had laughed earlier now stood frozen, whispering to each other. I think she was a fighter before. Yeah, she's not just a janitor. She's something else." Ethan straightened, breathing heavily. He wiped sweat from his forehead and nodded slowly. "All right, Maya. I get it. You're not just cleaning floors. You're incredible." Maya lowered her gaze briefly, then looked back at him. There was no arrogance in her eyes. Only calm, quiet strength. The unexpected had happened. The first move that shocked everyone had just revealed the truth: appearances could be deceiving. The quiet janitor was no ordinary woman. She carried a secret power, a hidden past that now could not be ignored. The gym was silent for a long moment. Then, slowly, people began to clap, not mockingly, not out of pity, but out of genuine respect. They had witnessed something rare, something extraordinary. Ethan, still catching his breath, finally smiled. "I've fought many people, but tonight, you taught me something. Respect. You've earned it." Maya's small smile returned, quiet and humble. She had never wanted attention. She had never wanted glory. She had simply moved as she had always known how: precise, calm, and powerful. And in that quiet gym, under the dim lights, the first real shock had been delivered. The janitor was not just a janitor. She was a warrior, a hidden force, a story that was only beginning to unfold. No one in the gym would ever look at her the same way again. And for Maya, the fight wasn't about winning or losing. It was about showing, in the simplest way, that strength often hides where no one expects it. The unexpected war had only just begun. The gym was still. The air hung thick with tension, and every eye was on Maya. Even Ethan, the confident black belt, was silent. He had expected a fun spar, maybe a little challenge, but this was something else entirely. Maya's calmness had changed the room. Her movements, her timing, her quiet power, they had all spoken a truth she had never revealed before. And now, the question hung in the air: who was she really? Ethan finally broke the silence, his voice soft but serious. Maya. I need to know. How are you this good? Who taught you? Maya looked down for a moment, her hands clasping each other lightly. The mop leaned against the wall, forgotten. She could feel every pair of eyes on her, waiting, expecting an answer. She had kept this secret for years. For years, she had hidden her past behind her uniform, behind her quiet life, behind the night shifts and the endless cleaning. And now, the truth she never wanted to tell was about to come out. She took a deep breath. Her voice was calm, but the words carried weight. I used to fight. A long time ago. I trained, very seriously. National competitions. Championships. I won, and I lost. But I loved it. I loved every fight, every moment. The gym went silent. The spectators exchanged looks of disbelief. The two men who had laughed earlier stared at her in shock. No way, one whispered. The janitor, a champion. Maya continued, her voice steady but soft. Then, life changed. My son, he needed me. I couldn't continue. I had to work, to care for him, to survive. Martial arts, it became a memory. Ethan's eyes widened. He stepped closer, lowering his hands in respect. You gave up all of this, for your son. Maya nodded, her eyes reflecting both pride and a quiet sadness. Yes. I never told anyone. Not at the gym, not at work. I wanted to be invisible. Safe. Ordinary. The crowd murmured again, this time in awe. They had assumed she was just a janitor, a quiet, hard-working woman who stayed in the background. But now, they realized she had hidden a life of strength, discipline, and glory. Ethan shook his head, impressed and humbled. I've trained for years, but I never imagined someone could move like you without showing it for so long. Maya smiled faintly. Sometimes, the strongest people don't need to fight. They survive in silence. They carry their strength quietly, like a shadow. The gym members were silent, processing this revelation. The janitor they had ignored, laughed at, and underestimated for months, no, years, had once been a national-level fighter. A champion. And she was still incredible, even after stepping away from the spotlight. One of the young men who had mocked her earlier finally spoke. I can't believe it. We were wrong. So wrong. Maya's eyes softened. It's okay. People make mistakes. People judge what they see. But strength, real strength, doesn't need an audience. Ethan, still trying to catch his breath, nodded slowly. You deserve respect. Not just for your skill, but for everything you've done. For your son. For the life you chose. Maya looked down, almost embarrassed by the praise. I didn't do it for respect. I did it because it had to be done. Life doesn't wait for anyone. You fight in your own way, sometimes outside the ring, sometimes inside it. The spectators were now completely silent, staring at her with newfound admiration. The lesson was clear: appearances could be deceiving. A quiet janitor could be a champion. A hidden warrior could live in plain sight. And the strength of a person was measured not only by what they did publicly, but also by what they carried quietly in their life. Ethan extended his hand slowly. Maya, Would you consider teaching, training, sharing what you know? Maya hesitated, thinking about her son, her responsibilities, and the life she had built. She never wanted attention. She never wanted fame. But she also knew that sharing her skill could inspire others, especially young women who needed to see strength beyond appearances. Finally, she nodded. Yes. I can teach. But only for those who want to learn, who are serious. The gym erupted in quiet excitement. Not cheering, not loud applause, but the kind of respect that comes from witnessing something rare. Something extraordinary. Ethan smiled, still amazed. I thought I came here to spar, but I learned something far greater. Not just your skill, but your courage. To hide it, to live quietly, and still be ready when needed. That's real power. Maya smiled faintly, the weight of years of secrecy lifting just a little. Sometimes the strongest battles aren't in the ring. They're in life. And every battle counts, even the quiet ones. The gym had transformed in that night. The story of the janitor, the hidden champion, would spread quietly, slowly, but surely. And the lesson was clear for everyone who saw it: never judge someone by the uniform they wear, the job they do, or the quiet life they live. Real strength often hides in plain sight. Maya returned to her mop, but now with a little more confidence. She had revealed her truth. She had shared her past. And in doing so, she had earned the respect she never sought but truly deserved. The unexpected war of skill and silence had reached its revelation. And for the first time in years, Maya felt a sense of peace, mixed with a small spark of excitement for what was to come. The gym had quieted completely. Everyone stared at Maya with eyes wide open, hearts still pounding from the revelation. She had just shared a truth that nobody expected: a life of strength, discipline, and hidden battles that had been invisible to the world. Ethan, the black belt who had entered the gym confident and joking, now stood humbled. He looked at Maya, still catching his breath, still trying to process the quiet power she had shown. For him, the spar had become more than a fight. It had become a lesson in respect, in understanding that appearances can be deceiving. "Mom," a small voice whispered from the corner. It was her son, who had come to pick her up from her night shift. He had watched silently from the doorway, unaware of what had been happening. Now, he stared at her with admiration and wonder. Maya turned slightly, smiling softly. "Hey, kiddo," she said, her voice calm but warm. Her son stepped closer, eyes wide. "Mom, I always knew you were special. But, this is amazing." Maya knelt down to his level and hugged him tightly. "You've always believed in me," she said quietly. "And that's what matters most." Ethan stepped forward, still holding a respectful distance. "Maya, I've faced strong fighters before. Champions. Experts. But never someone like you. The way you moved tonight, the way you controlled everything, it's incredible. You've earned respect, admiration, even awe." Maya shook her head, slightly embarrassed. "I never fought for glory. I fought because I had to. I trained because it was part of who I am. I never wanted attention, never wanted anyone to notice." The gym members, once laughing and mocking, now looked at her with newfound reverence. They realized that the quiet janitor, the woman who swept floors and smiled politely, was a hidden force. She was a champion, not only in skill but in life itself. Ethan smiled and lowered his hands. "Then let me ask you something. Would you consider teaching? Sharing what you know? Showing others that strength isn't just about muscles or trophies, but discipline, courage, and heart?" Maya thought for a moment. Her responsibilities were many. She had her son, her work, her life to maintain. But she also saw something important: she could inspire others, especially young women, to see strength in themselves. Finally, she nodded. Yes. I can teach. But only to those who are serious. Those who want to learn, not to show off. A quiet murmur of approval spread through the gym. Respectful applause followed, not loud cheering, but the kind that comes from witnessing something truly extraordinary. Ethan extended his hand, not for sparring, but for respect. You've taught me something tonight, Maya. About strength, about humility, about the hidden battles people carry. Thank you. Maya shook his hand gently. Everyone has their battles, she said. Some are seen. Some are not. But every battle counts. Every challenge matters, even the quiet ones. The gym had transformed that night. What began as a simple sparring challenge had become a story of courage, respect, and revelation. The janitor, the quiet, overlooked woman, had shown everyone that true power is not measured by appearances. It is measured by resilience, discipline, and the heart to keep moving forward despite life's hardships. Her son beamed with pride. Mom. I'm telling all my friends. They'll never underestimate you again. Maya chuckled softly, hugging him again. You don't need anyone to believe in me. I just need to keep believing in myself. Ethan looked around at the gym members, now silent and thoughtful. Remember this night, he said. This isn't just about fighting or sparring. It's about understanding people. Seeing beyond what you think you know. Respect is earned in more ways than one. Maya picked up her mop, ready to finish her work. But the difference now was clear, she no longer moved invisibly. Her strength, once hidden, had been recognized quietly, humbly, but undeniably. The gym members watched her with new eyes. No longer just a janitor. No longer just a quiet single mom. Now she was a teacher, a champion, a hero in plain sight. And in that small, dimly lit gym, the moment everyone would remember forever had arrived. A single mother, who had fought her own battles in silence for years, had stepped onto the mat and shown that strength isn't always loud. Sometimes, it's quiet. Sometimes, it's hidden. But when it appears, it leaves the world speechless. Maya's eyes met Ethan's one last time. He nodded, a silent acknowledgement of respect and admiration. Then, she turned toward her son. Come on, she said softly. Let's go home. And as they walked out together, leaving the gym behind, everyone there knew one thing: some battles are fought in silence, some victories are quiet, and some people, even the ones you least expect, carry power that can astonish the world. The janitor's story had ended that night, but it had also just begun, in the hearts of everyone who had witnessed it.